Hello everyone, we're getting ready to get started. Just waiting on hubby to come around. And we're going to get started on fear tonight. That's what we're talking about. Well, anyway, I hope that y'all are having a wonderful evening. Yes, it is raining outside.
Yes.
But it's still a good day, regardless of what I may be feeling or what's going on around us. Cancel that out because God still allowed us to be here at this very moment.
No doubt.
To give him praise, and I am so excited about it. I'm glad that y'all are joining us tonight. Those I did not tag, but I'm glad that you are joining us tonight. So how you doing, Trina? Hi, Estelle. How you doing? I'm glad you all are joining us once again tonight. But anyway, my name is Ira Warren.
And my name is Divine Warren.
And together we are as one.
Hey, everybody. For all those on the radio listening, hey. We hope y'all having a good evening as well. Let me just say this real quick. I didn't even think that wifey was going to come. She had like a fender bender today. Somebody ran into the side of her. So, I was actually telling her that, I could do it myself, by myself. But, she still came in and, is willing to do the show. And I really appreciate that. And I'm just glad that she's all right. I'm glad that she's okay. It's all slippery outside. It's been raining off and on all day. It could have been a lot worse. I'm just thankful that, nothing serious happened to her.
Yeah, and so it seems like every time we get ready to do a show, it never ceases to amaze me that whatever the topic is, I can rest assured that I am going to be tested in some kind of way. And like I said, this topic tonight that we will be discussing, it will be on fear.
Yeah. False expectations appearing real. When you do research on fear, you'll be surprised all the stuff that pops up. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that pops up. So, we're just going to be talking about a little bit of the things that relate to fear and how you can overcome fear.
Right.
I was just sitting here and I was thinking, false expectations appearing real. False. Fear it has you caught up in false thoughts. The opposite of false is true or truth. So if it's false, it has no validation to it. It's part of our imagination. It's something that we make up in our own minds. It's unreal. Sometimes it could be unrealistic expectations. It could be expectations brought about, from things in our past, from our childhood. It could be expectations of what we think might happen due to the fact that certain things have happened to other people in those particular circumstances. But at the end of the day, it's false.
Right.
It's not true. And it's appearing. It's not even real. It's appearing to be real.
It's
and it's
illusion.
Actually appearing to be real in our minds. And then we activate our own thoughts into believing something is real that isn't. And then we act out in that particular way.
Right.
And another thing, let me just read the actual definition. Like I said, false expectations appearing real. Or a lot of people say false experiences. It's all different types of ways that you can say that.
Yeah, a lot of different acronyms for that.
I like the false expectations appearing real. But actually, another definition of fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief. Like I was just saying, is about the belief. We believe in something that doesn't even exist. And it is the belief that someone or something is dangerous and is likely to cause a threat. So you get caught up in feeling fear, and then when you start to get so caught up in fear, his cousins just happens to bounce around, and then they are attached to you. Yeah, fear, doubt, and resentments, and the anger is the triangle of self-exception. It is fear, anger, and resentments. They all attach to each other. So if you're angry, more than likely the cousin of, fear, and then the cousin of resentments, they all around you. So that's just something to, keep in mind. So I'm going to pass it back to wifey so she could talk a little bit, and then I'm just going to start talking. Because like I said, it's so much. It's so much when it comes to fear, so like I said, I appreciate wifey for being here, so I want her to talk a little.
Okay. Well, I'm just from speaking from experience. I would allow fear to rob me of my
The
blessings.
benefits.
And it would just, the circumstances of it, I would be so afraid, or whatever it was. Like when I first moved here 3 years ago, I was so afraid. Even though I knew the word of God, I knew Deuteronomy 31:6, be strong and courageous, do not be afraid or terrified because of them. The Lord your God is going to be with you, and he would never leave you nor forsake you. So even though I knew that scripture and I had it in my heart, I was still afraid to step out and do the thing that God has called me to do. It's one thing to be afraid of the circumstances, and it's another crazy thing to be afraid of the solution. It's just like a fire. Just say if it was a fire in a house, and the circumstances is you in this house and it's a fire, but the solution is the fireman is downstairs and he's yelling for you to jump so that he can save yourself. He's trying to save you. And so that's what it does. It does. It will fear will paralyze you, and it will rob you of the very thing that God has put in you. So you want to be careful to not allow fear to rob you of your peace, your joy, your happiness, your truth. So we have to be careful when we allow fear to come in and dictate to us and control us and enslave us, because we're too afraid to take that leap of faith and step out on faith and do the thing that God has called us to do. So everybody should know that if you are a child of God, 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7, for God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. So greater is he that is in us than he who is in the world. So if he is within us, why should we be afraid?
No doubt.
Why should we fear? But okay, we all born with some fears. We all scared of some things. But the truth of the matter is we have the power that's within us, and that's God. And he's going to strengthen us, and he's going to he gives us exactly what it is that we need, so that we can conquer and just shut fear down. But like my husband was talking about the cousin, now doubt will come in, and you be like, child, I doubt that'll happen. I don't know. You know, when storms come, that's when the doubt comes in. You know, so we know that it's hard to recognize God in a storm. So you get confused. You be like, okay, is this God? Is this what he wants for my life? Is this what I'm really supposed to go through? So when finances and situations with your spouse, the communication, the money, everything is just going haywire and is not in place, you begin to have a fear. Everything you just clutch on to everything.
Hold it tight.
You hold it tight. But the thing about it is, it's not about God at this point. It's about you. It's about you holding on to what it is that you want. It has nothing to do with God at this point. You know, so whatever the God of your understanding is, you have to trust that he is going to be there for you and with you when you take that leap. It's so many people, they don't have a second thought about fear, because they have it in their mind that they are going to do it, because their thoughts are pure, because they have positive thinking. It says, what a man thinketh in his heart, so he shall become. What a man say, so it shall be. So whatever your thoughts are, this is what my grandmother used to say. Whatever you say throughout the day, that's what your heart, and that's what you will become. So if I say I'm not gonna be nothing, I'm just sorry, I'm so pitiful, I ain't gonna never. I don't like to be around killjoys, because I'm not gonna lie, I could be a killjoy sometime myself. When I get fearful, I say, oh my God, this bill is coming. Oh my God, what we gonna do? But if I believe in what the word of God says, he said, I have never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed beg of bread. So why am I worried? He said, if I feed the sparrow, if I care about the sparrows, which is the bird, how much more will I care for you? You should not worry about what you should eat, what you should wear, where you gonna live, because God said he will provide every need. So why does fear set in? Fear set in is because we allow our flesh to set allow flesh to set in, and we just say, this is how I feel, I'm only human, I'm gonna feel this way. But if you feel that way, it's okay, but don't stay there.
Yes.
You have to move past your fear and know that there is a solution to your problem. So I'm gonna let you go.
Look, and I wanted wifey to talk because we talk about fear a lot.
Yeah, we do.
And my angle is, if you have faith, fear is a lack of faith. That's always my angle.
Yeah, it's true.
Anytime
it's
somebody
biblical.
say something to me, but let me flip back a little. But they also are healthy fears as well.
Yeah, it is.
But fear is definitely a lack of faith. And in my eyes, it not just because it says it anywhere in particular, is actually what I believe. Because if you trust and believe in the God of your understanding, like you say, it should be no reason for you to be overly fearful of things that don't even exist or not even happen yet. Or some conclusion you came up in your mind that something was going to happen that didn't even occur. You should not have fear for that. And that's just how I feel. And fear, a lot of people don't know that fear comes from the right side of the brain. It comes from the emotional side of the brain.
Right.
It limits your vision. It kills your dreams and hopes, and it can also stagnate your goals, your aspirations, and your dreams. So, ladies and gentlemen, fear is not a friend of ours.
No, it's not.
But like I said, there are healthy fears. But let me go back a little. Most fears is just bad judgment of our mental faculties. And like wifey said, it can paralyze you. A lot of the fears that we have, we learned from childhood. People might not believe that, but I told wifey earlier today, we was talking about this. I said, I think young children are the closest to God, are closer to God than adults. And then she didn't ask me why, but I said the reason why is because they lack that fear. They don't have that fear. So when the fear kicks in, that's pushing you away from God. It's almost like ego. When you don't have the fear, they have that vertical connection without even probably knowing that they have that vertical connection, because fear is not running or dictating their lives. So that's something to think about. But like I said, it's a fear behavior. And I want to talk a little bit about my little brother back in the days. Like, my kids used to do this as well, but this was a funny thing. I remember back in the days, my little brother Sean, he might be watching. He watches sometime. Sean did not want to walk. He was like one of them, it took a while for him to walk, And I remember my mother had bought him this hoodie. She had bought him a hoodie that you put on. I don't even think it was a whole hoodie, but I remember how for some reason, one day he must have grabbed the strings to the hoodie, and in his mind, he had came to the conclusion that these strings were holding him up. So my brother would walk. As long as he was holding those strings to the hoodie, he would walk, but as soon as he let the strings go, he would fall. Or he would fall, then he would try to hold on to the wall and all that. But it was like his confidence grew because he had the belief that those strings was really holding his balance up and stuff. And that's funny when you think about it. It's like almost reaching out to God, the God of your understanding, and you holding on tight with that belief. And he's like that string. You grab onto the string and you keep a hold to that string. The string is your faith. I'm using an analogy, y'all. You grab onto that string and you hold tight to that string, and no matter what, even through the trying and bad times, you still have that string. You still have that life force. You still have that energy. You still have the soul. Whatever you would like to call it, that string, God is there to hold you up no matter what, even through the trying times. If you're able to get up, or if you're able to look up, you're able to get up, and he helps us move away from fear if we allow him to. But you have to align yourself and align your will with his, and then his will for you becomes your own true will for yourself. Now, there's all kinds of fears. Like, people have fears of not being enough, not getting married, losing your house, not living out your dreams, not having kids, not being accepted, criticism of others, being broke, how you look, how other people look at you in their eyes, how you look at yourself in your eyes, and running out of time. That's just some of the fears. And like I said, when you do research and you study and you start reading stuff about fear, it takes a lot of stuff
phobias
goes with it.
After that, at the end of those too.
Definitely. And then we also have 3 different types of fears. Everybody may not totally agree with this, but I kind of agree with these fears. Lost pain. That's the type of fear. is if I was to do something new, I might lose things in my life, like a job, a spouse, my career, my friends. But with that, you should stay focused on the gain, not the loss.
Right.
And keep in mind when we say fear is something that didn't happen yet. So you're putting an expectation or giving a value, negative value to something that didn't even occur yet.
Yeah, so you already putting it in the atmosphere
before it even
happens. So 9 times out of 10, that thing probably will come into fruition because you live it into existence.
I'm sorry.
So and that's the thing. We have to be renewed by the transforming of our minds. Mm-hmm. Because I have to go back to what a man thinketh in his heart, so he shall become. So we have to be careful what we think, because those things will come into fruition. So I see a lot of my good friends that I used to work with, and I'm going to put out there because she's watching. Miss Brown, I'm proud of you, Miss LaFlora Brown. LaFlora. But anyway, I see how she put something in the atmosphere we would talk about. She said, I'm going to go back to school and get my master's degree. When she said that, she said it with confidence, and she said it with positivity, and she said it with the know-how that I am going to do this thing. And I'm going to step out on faith. Whatever her faith or the God of her understanding was, it was just her energy. It was just her, I'm going to do this thing, and nothing in this world, nobody, not even myself, going to stop me from accomplishing what I want to do. And so that gave me hope. That gave me strength to see my friend go out and do the things that she wants to do, and that God has given her to do, and given her the ability to do. Because if God has not planted those things in us, we will not be able to do those things, because it is He that gives us, the gifts and the talents and the know-how and the knowledge. Because the Word of God says, in all you're getting, get an understanding. So if you have an understanding of whose you are in Him, you shouldn't have no wavering nowhere, because that's what fear does. Fear will come in and just sit down and say, oh, I already know this person is weak in this area, so I'm going to sit myself right here and wait till a situation happen. And we're going to see how strong your Lord is in you, to see if you're going to follow through and be patient and be at peace and be at rest with your situation. And a lot of times, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not. I just be like, oh, what am I going to do? And my husband, like he is now, he chilling. He's chilling in the cut, but it gets better. It gets better. And once I recognize it, I do move out of my own way, and allow God to do what it is that He's going to do.
And look, ladies and gentlemen, we talk about these topics because they help us as well. We're not trying to sit here like Reverend Run and CDMC or something. And we're not trying to sit here like we like super doctors or whatever. We are basically sitting here trying to help others, and knowing that we help others, we also help ourselves as well.
Right.
And there's another thing that said that everything that we need is within inside us.
It is.
So if that's the truth, there's no reason to be fearful of anything. If you really put that in perspective, if everything you need is inside you, it's no reason to make these false expectations in your own mind, knowing that everything that you need to benefit you in life and to help you move forward is right within you. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me go back to another fear. Process pain. Process pain is the process of change that can be hard, especially in the beginning. It can be scary to us, and I know a lot of people know about this. It's scary to us, so we're afraid to change. And a couple of the things is when people try a new diet. People stop smoking, they come up with every excuse on the planet Earth. Well, I could buy a new lung in Cambodia. So, no, you can't buy. Well, you maybe
get
you
a
could.
Vapor, one of the vapor things.
You could switch to the vapor, and that'll help me. So you kind of know what that is. Getting on a diet, stop smoking or drinking. Then there's another form of pain. It's called outcome pain. Is what if I go through all this work of doing something and then it doesn't work out?
Right.
And a lot of people go through, and these are things that a lot of people go through, and we don't even recognize that they are actually forms of fear. Right. And so you also come to the doubt start kicking in. Like Babe was talking about the fear, and then you have the doubt. It starts kicking in that, well, what if I don't finish? Or what's going to be the outcome if I don't finish? What you need to do is not stay in that lane. Right. You have to come to the conclusion and start thinking that things are going to turn out good. Because like Wifey just said, if you think things are going to be negative before it actually takes place, you'll probably live and make it go in that direction based on your thoughts of negativity. Because
Mm-hmm.
how you think is how you feel and how you begin to live. And then you start going in that direction and you start looking around like, how did I get here? You got there because of your own thought pattern. You was chasing the illusion.
Yeah.
You was
That's
chasing
exactly
that
what it
illusion
is.
of fear. And then when you start chasing the illusion, it no longer becomes an illusion no more. It starts to become reality, and more than likely it's going to become yours. And another thing you got to keep in mind, we can't let our dreams die with us.
Yeah, that's true.
Just do new things. You just have to do it. If it doesn't work out, okay. You could get back, dust yourself off, and try it again. Or if you don't want to try that again, try something else. And now I'm going to talk about a couple of ways, well, a lot of ways that you can handle fear. First of all, I would tell people, like, put your fear under a microscope. Analyze it. Really try to pinpoint where did the fear start to come in. Because like I said earlier in the show, most fear that we have is fear that we have developed through childhood. If you lived in a particular home and your father slapped you and you are female, and this was on a consistent basis, you know, imagine later on down the line, your expectation may be that all men are supposed to slap when things don't go the way the man wants it to go. Now, you might put this expectation in the air because of your past experiences, but that doesn't necessarily mean that all men are going to hit you.
Right.
You know, that's not the case. It's just something that you have in your mind that you think something that's going to occur because of your past experiences, but it's not necessarily true. That's why it's called an illusion. If you're doing something and, you know, it's something you really want to do and the fear start to kick in, ask yourself, what is the worst that can happen? You know, rationalize, think logically, think it all the way through. You know, relax, give yourself, you know, a break, release the tension, and you have to be able to face your fears and try to get use of them. The reason why I say try to get use of them, because if you are able to face your fear, you are alleviating the pain and control that it has over you. You know, and like I said, some fear is healthy, right? Like I was talking about, for instance, this is a fear. If we get to a cliff, right? And I saw somebody, we was watching the show last night, and the lady was saying, you get to the cliff, your body automatically kicks into a different gear because your mind tells you, if the cliff is high, your mind automatically tells you, based on what you see at that present moment and past experiences, that you shouldn't step off that cliff.
Right.
You know, so, like I said, you have to be able to face that. So now, being that you know that, and being that you know some fears is healthy, I would advise you not to step off that cliff. But what I want to say is that do not let fear hold you back. If you get to the cliff and it's too high for you, maybe you need to take another route.
Yeah.
Maybe you might need to go down and, you know, take another way. Maybe you might need to get off the hill. But do not let fear stagnate you or paralyze you, as wifey said about the
Yeah, I
fear
want
paralyzes
to say something
me.
else about that.
Do not allow that to happen in your life.
Yeah, and I also wanted to put this in there too. If you allow fear to remain active in your life, it will ultimately take hold of your thoughts and paralyze you, and you going forward, and you will lose momentum and you will suffocate. And that's how I used to feel a lot of times, even until today. My husband was telling me yesterday a spider. It was one of those brown recluse spider.
Was on my leg.
You know, so you know people have them phobias with spiders.
And I don't like spiders. I'm not scared of them, but I don't like them. Get off me.
I'm scared of them.
I shook them off. I was like, shake
and
them off.
You're so silly. So that's the thing. If you allow fear to stay in your life, it will not only paralyze you, but before it paralyzes you, you will lose your momentum. So it will slow you down. And then you start thinking all of these things. It says, you know, think on things that are, if you read in Philippians 4:8, it says, think on things that are trustworthy, things that are noble, things that are a good report. You know, and it says, think on these things. It says, so what are you thinking about? What are you thinking about? So if you're not putting those positive affirmations in your mind and you're not saying them out loud, chances are that fear is going to lie dormant somewhere in your mind and in your heart, And so whatever's in your heart is going to come out. So whatever's in your mind is going to go to your heart and it's going to come out your mouth. So fear. And so when you think about the word fear, take the F off. It's always in your ear. It's going to come some kind of way. He going to be in your ear saying, yeah, you know you can't do that. I don't even know why you trying to start that business. I don't even know why you trying to stay in this relationship. Y'all don't communicate. Y'all don't have sex. Y'all don't do anything in this marriage. Why don't you just? It's a scary thing. I told you it wasn't going to work out. So you got the fear in your ear. So you have to know.
Fear.
He said not the flavor, but the fear. You're so silly.
Got the fear in your ear. Ahead,
so no matter what the circumstances is, God has given you the power to break that spirit of fear off of your lives. He will give you strength to fight against that and become victorious in your life. You are put here to do several things because if you have several gifts, God, he wants you to obviously use them all to help someone else. But at the same time, you got to lose yourself in the process. Yes, it's a cross that you're going to have to pick up and carry, but at the same time, you still have to die to yourself daily. Die to your fears, die to your flesh, die to your wants, die to all the stuff that you want, because it's not a you trinity. It's not me, myself, and I. So you got to lose your trinity in order to, push past whatever it is that you're going through with these fears. So I was gonna say that.
Look, wifey said something very important, and I'm going to tap right into what she said. The evil, the devil, if you would like to call it the devil, spirit, evil spirit, whatever you like to call it, he uses fear, doubt, resentments, anger, and all of that to discourage
unforgiveness,
you. All of these things are put in your way to discourage you from carrying out your purpose or living to be the best person that you can be.
Right.
You can feel like you have. Sometimes it's funny because I'm just sitting there thinking. Sometimes it's almost like I feel like I'm being attacked.
Yeah, that's what fear does.
It's like it just comes out of nowhere, and it feels like something is attacking me, and then I feel not at ease. And not being at ease is disease. I be feeling like not at ease, and I'm saying disease because my mental be a little off because sometimes I can't really pinpoint where it's coming from until actually I sit down. And it's funny how it could creep in at the best of times and it could creep in at the worst of times. And a lot of the times it likes to creep in because, like I said, the devil or evil or whatever you would like to call him, he uses this to discourage you. And some of us are actually losing the soundness of our minds and our mind states due to fear. They have people who have certain diseases and certain phobias that don't even allow people to come out their own homes. And it's not due to anything that had actually occurred to them. It's due to what they feel in their mind. Fear is one of them. It's one of them emotions that can overwhelm you, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and all that. A lot of people, if you see them in fear, they cringe up.
Yeah,
when
muscles
they cringe
tight.
Their body up, their muscles tighten and all that. Some people put their head down. They get in like a discouraging mode. Now, it's everything is connected. Your physical, your mental, and your spiritual frame is all connected. So if it attacks you in a particular way and you cringe up and all that, it's actually attacking all of you. It's coming mentally, but it's attacking all of you. And that's something that we need to think of. And some of the ways that we can handle fear is tie into your purpose and your true potential.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that everything you want is on the other side of fear.
Yeah.
Everything you want is on the other side of fear. Stop running away from what you want to do in life. We scare ourselves to death sometimes over something that really doesn't exist.
No.
Life is about growing, not staying in our comfort zone. And that's another thing when I was talking about earlier about the different kinds of pain. A lot of people get caught up so much in their comfort zone that they want to stay in that lane. So if anything comes that seems discouraging to what they want to do, like I said, stay in that particular lane, even if it's something good, they may put their blinders on. What I mean by that, they'll close their eyes to it or they'll push it to the side and be like, they'll rather stay caught up in their comfort zone because of fear as opposed to stepping on that ledge or taking another route.
Mm-hmm.
And fear, I was just sitting here thinking, fear is almost like walking down a narrow road with blinders on. Because that's how it paralyzes you, and if you allow it to, it completely can control your life and let all other aspects of stuff start to come into play.
Right.
And you'll be holding yourself back from being your own true, authentic self.
Right. And it's also another little small, it's just a little short story I want to share with y'all. I was talking to a friend of mine today, and she said, Ira, I have been talking to a lot of my friends, and they all going through divorces. And I was like, wow. And she said, all of them, is 4 women. She said, all of them have something in common. And I said, well, what's that? And she said, they all have this fear of letting go. 2 of them, they stay at home moms. They take care of the children. And their fear is, what am I going to do? I don't have any skills. I don't have a job. I don't have any money. What am I going to do? And then the other 2 ladies, they're in marriages where they have husbands. And so it's almost like they're controlling them. So what are you going to do? And I can attest to that because that's how I felt in my first marriage. Well, what are you going to do? You don't have a degree. All you know how to do is flip hamburgers. I mean, what you gonna do? And so these women are so afraid to just step out and trust God to help them get on the other side with their children in their situation. So 2 of them, they have already made up in their mind, I'm going to stay in this situation because I don't see any other way. So you will stay in the situation out of fear of the unknown. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have a degree. I haven't worked since I was a teenager. I've been in a marriage for 27 years, so what am I going to do? And so I have to go back to that, Joshua 1:9, it says, have I not commanded you to be strong and courageous? And it's kind of hard, and it may be cliche to some people when you are giving them a scripture or you giving them details of your experiences that you have gone through. So sometimes people don't want to hear that. They just want a solution. And even in giving someone a solution, they're still afraid, even if you give them a solution. Oh, so girl, you mean I gotta
that comfort zone.
Yeah. So you gotta be stretched. You gotta come out of your comfort zone. You gotta be uncomfortable so that you can go get over to the other side. So being comfortable is not going to catapult you to the other side. You're just gonna be in the same spot. You're gonna be stagnant, and you're just gonna stay right there. You're not gonna move.
Look, and wifey was just talking about the women. Listen, watch out for things that feed your fear.
Yeah.
She was saying how they say particular things, and like I said, the evil, that's how it comes at you. That's the way it attacks you. So if you see yourself around people or watching certain things or listening to certain things that is adding to your fear, you might want to alleviate that from your life. And you got to appreciate your value, your worth.
That's it.
You got to know that you're worthy. No matter what goes on in life, you are still worthy.
Yes, you are still worthy.
And that's something that you have to come to the conclusion on your own.
You are fearfully and wonderfully made.
No doubt. And you have to embrace challenges that fear presents. Fear never takes place. When it happens, then we look for another fear. So this is funny. So if we was fearful of one thing, right, and then that actually comes in our life, and whatever it was that we was fearful of happens, and we get over it, you'd be like, oh wow, it wasn't that bad. It's so crazy how in our own mind we'll start looking for new fears. People don't even have to put that in place. Sometimes it just happens with people automatically,
right?
And that's crazy. We don't have to give away our power to someone else. Like wifey was talking about with the wives and stuff. Some women just tend to think, well, I don't have this, I don't have that. 27 years of marriage, I'm just gonna stay. No, don't ever let nobody have that much control and power over you. Just because of fear, or not even because of fear. Don't ever let nobody have that much. No one should have more control over you than you have over yourself.
That's right.
Nobody. Don't become the victim, and don't stay a victim. If you see yourself as a victim, you will always be fearful.
Always.
you won't be able to get past it if you always think that you're going to be victimized by somebody, because that fear always creeping and be like, oh, if he doesn't do it to you, she's going to do it to you. They not going to do it to you, somebody else going to do it to you. And especially if the other people have similar characteristics of the person who you actually feared, or the person from your past. Back in the days, your pops, like I said, that may have slapped you, you know, and you are female, and you start thinking that all men will do it. You'll have that fear in place, like I said, even if the man never touches you.
Yeah.
You know, change your mind and your beliefs. That might be something that you may have to do. Don't judge. The more that we judge people, the more we separate ourselves from the God of our understanding. Mm-hmm. We judge most of the times because we are intimidated by other people. Now, these are just, like, I'm going through a lot of things that you can use in your daily life so that you don't be controlled by fear. Body, mind, and spirit has to be connected with the God of your understanding. Mm-hmm. We have to release the tension in our body, which will help us to release it in our mind. Like I said before, it's threefold. You know, it's spiritually, mentally, you know, physically. Fear is transformed and transferred and stored in our body. Like I said, you see people that cringe up, some people put their head down, some people are fearful, they shake, all of that. That takes a toll on you if you stay caught up in fear. Listen to your body, because it never lies to you.
That's right.
You know, how we carry ourselves externally, I said this like 2 shows ago. How we carry ourselves externally is how people are going to treat you. And that's right. How they're going to see you. Uh-huh. You know, so if you have this, if you're giving off that aura that you're fearful of particular things, a lot of people, you know, people like to use a lot of different things to like kind of control people or get over on people. They'll use your own fear against you.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to keep in mind of that as well. Everything that happens, we don't have to respond to. You don't have to respond to everything that happens, and, you know, to you. Or, you know, when somebody comes at you crazy, you can walk away and leave them standing there. You don't have to put yourself in a predicament that may cause something to happen to you. Now, I'm talking about not the illusion. I'm talking about something that really, you know, could happen to you. You don't have to stand there and allow somebody to just do something to you. You could just walk away. We have to learn how to change our attitude. You have the power to change this, you know, which actually changes the chemicals in your brain. And, you know, when the chemicals in your brain change and the endorphins start to pop off, you start feeling good about yourself and things around you. But if you stay stuck in that misery, woe is me, oh, this is going to happen, or that happened to me in the past and all that, you stay stuck in that frame of mind, more than likely, like I said, you're going to start living that out in your life as well.
And that's good, because I was sitting up here thinking, you know, when husband was talking about, you know, being stuck. I'm a massage therapist as well, and a lot of times people's muscles become atrophy. What that means is they're afraid to move the arm. The only time they move it is when they go to physical therapy. And you have to not be fearful to move your arm, because, hey, after all, you need both of your arms to do whatever you do during out the day. You just got one arm, you just holding on to it like this, and you don't want to move it because you're afraid that, oh, I'm gonna do more damage to it. You're doing more damage to it by not moving it. And it was something my grandmother used to say. She says, when everyone is fearful of rocking the boat, you know, she says, that's the thing, if you rock the boat, oh my God, we're gonna fall out and we're gonna drown. She said, you need to learn how to walk above what others are sinking in. And I didn't even understand that. When she said that, I was like, what? She said, walk above what everybody else may be sinking in. And she said, so if your friends are saying, girl, I'm not going back to school, you know, that's not for me. She said, well, if they sinking in that, then you walk above it and you go to school if that's what you want to do. You know, so she said you need to learn how to walk above things that other people is sinking in. So she said, you notice when somebody's on a ride and they're on the Ferris wheel and it's going around and around, the people, you know how people rock it like that? And they say, stop, don't rock it, don't rock it. And that's the thing, you know, people become fearful of rocking the boat, rocking whatever. And the first thing that comes to their mind, we're going to fall out, we're going to die. You know, chances are it may happen that way. But we have fears and phobias and all kinds of things that, you know, that we experience in our lives, but it should not be the God of our lives. It should not control us. It shouldn't be the ambassador in our life to say, this is how you're going to feel, and this is how I want you to feel, and this is how you should stay. Because after all, you're only human, you know, because we use that a lot. Well, I'm only human. And it's true, we are human. But how long will you stay living in fear?
That's good. That's a good thing. And if you are living in fear, like wifey was, I like what she said that her grandmother said. If you are living in fear, think about the good things that can happen in your life.
Yeah.
You know, don't stay stuck like she just said. It's about aligning our mind, our body, and our spirits, because when we align and get in tune with the God of our understanding, it actually brings balance in our lives.
Right.
Everything we do is intertwined with each other. The way, when we eat, when we drink, all of that, everything that we do is intertwined. Even though people tend not to think that way, it's true. Everything we do is intertwined. You know, wifey's grandmother was talking about kind of what she was saying was embracing the unknown.
Yeah, that's
you
it.
know,
Walk
like
above
moving
where others are sinking in, yeah.
moving past what is keeping other people captive.
Right.
That's basically what she's saying. You know, because fear holds you hostage, and without a ransom. You know what I mean? They'll just hold you hostage, and then you just have to find a way to get out. You know, it holds you hostage without a ransom. You know, and it's crazy if you really think about what I'm saying.
Yeah. And so what are they holding hostage?
You.
Your life, your dreams, your purpose, everything is on hold because you won't, you know, kick fear in the face and say, I'm done with this.
Mm-hmm. And another thing I think people should do, change the words that you use with yourself as well. You got to change what you say to yourself, because if you keep telling yourself negative stuff, more than likely you're going to think negative, and then more than likely negative things are going to happen.
Right.
You know, what are you inviting into your world? Are you inviting fear or love? That's something that you have to ask yourself, because a lot of people say that they love themselves, but when you really hear what they have to say about them loving themselves, what are they actually doing? A lot of the things that they're doing is actually going against what the word love actually means. So try to move that fear out. It's all about getting the fear out so that we can overcome and become the best person that we are. Some of us are holding on to baggage that we should have let go a long time ago.
Right.
And that could allow fear to creep in, because like I said, when similar stuff starts to occur, you start reverting back to what you know from your past experiences, and then it'll creep in, and then that doubt will kick in, and then even resentments will kick in, and then you'll start getting angry, like, why is this happening to me? And then you look around, and the triangle of self-obsession has you completely, you know, captive again. Fear breeds other negative emotions, like I just said, anger, resentment, sadness, and a lot of people tend not to know that we create our own reality based on our perception. Like I said, it's all about what we think. We hold our world together through our thoughts. We hold our world together through our thoughts. God will put stuff in your lane. God will put stuff in your direction. God will put stuff in your way. God will put stuff right before your eyesight for you to do. Yeah. But at the end of the day, we were given the willpower to go in the direction that we feel we need to go. Even go in the direction that God wants us to go is based on our willpower. And basically, fear of come in and cut your willpower off at the knees and have you captive. And you don't want that to occur. We have to move beyond fear, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, we do. It's another saying, and I heard T.D. Jakes say this too, but I heard my grandmother say this first, and she was much older than him. She said, if you want to know what's in you, listen to what you talk about. Out of the abundance of your heart, the mouth speaketh, but it's also biblical. It says, whatever my mouth is talking about, that's what's in my heart, and that's what you are filled with. So you have to be careful what you're talking about, what you're saying. Another thing my grandmother used to say, she said, I should be going through it without it going through me. You know, so you could go through something, but don't let it overtake you and consume you and go through you. It should always be the reverse. You could go through something, but don't let what your something that you're going through just overtake you like a wave. You know, because then in that sense you'll become double-minded. You'll become, I'm not sure. You just go through a whole lot of things in your mind and in your heart, and that you're not capable of. You just be like, okay, I'm scared. I'm not going to do it. Listen, that's just not for me. I'm just going to sit here and look at everybody else. And then jealousy and all that other stuff will kick in because you're too afraid to do the thing that God has called you to do. You don't have to reinvent the wheel because, you know, you hear a lot of people say, oh, she stole my idea. He stole my idea. You know, the ultimate goal is saving souls and being a service and doing the will of God. Listen, if that's not your goal, then I understand. You know, so I'm not saying that should be your goal too, but that's my goal. That's my goal.
And like Wifey just said, change your focus.
Yeah.
You know, many of us are so caught up in doing instead of being.
Yeah, that's me. Guilty.
Major.
Guilty.
Let me repeat that. Many of us are caught up. No, I'm not just saying this for you, Wifey. I'm just saying. Many of us are caught up in doing instead of being. We are actually living in survival mode, running from ourselves.
Yeah, that's
living
me.
in survival mode due to fears. So now we are actually running away from ourselves. And some people call that loving themselves.
No. Like my husband told me, and I had never heard this before. Because I'm always just like, if it don't work, I got to go up. That's why I ran track. And it still ain't getting me nowhere because I'm not getting a scholarship for it.
And when you run, your fear goes with you.
Yeah, that's what you said. Wherever you go, you're going to take you with you.
So where you going?
So you're going to take it?
Wherever you go. My uncle told me that like a long time ago. May he rest in peace. He was like, listen, he told me that. And, you know, I heard it before he told me. But when he told me, I was like, whatever. I wasn't trying to hear it. I'm running the streets. I ain't trying to hear that. And it's true. When I sit back, look, that's one of the things I can remember him saying. He said, listen, are you moving? Yeah. He said, okay, but you know something? I was like, what? And he said it so, like, scientifically. If y'all knew my uncle, you would know this dude was... He said, my uncle, his name was Ronnie, or better known as Ali Sa, but he was a smart dude with some of the stuff he used to say. And he said, you know, wherever you go, you take you with you. And I'm like, dude, I wasn't trying to hear that, but it's true.
It's true.
You take them fears, you take all that doubt, you take all those negative thoughts, you take all that disbelief, the pain, the baggage from the past, the dude treated you wrong, mom treated you wrong. If you don't deal with any of that stuff, it's just going to warp and it's just going to keep attacking you. And some people think that being that they're not getting attacked in the here and now, that they'll never attack you again. No, your doubt and fear, they're like spiders in the corner. They'll sit dormant and wait. For the opportune time to attack.
Mask themselves,
you know,
just so they wait for the opportune time.
And let go of society's expectations of you. Some people are so caught up in what they think they should do based on these parameters or the box that society has put people in. You got to live for you. You got to become fearless and enjoy your life and live. You got to have fun, stay healthy, strive for peace in your life. You know, protect, prove, hide, and defend. I heard that on a video yesterday. I was watching a video and dude said, listen, you have to protect yourself. You have to prove it to yourself. You know, you have to hide. But he wasn't saying that you had to hide. He was like, you know, like basically move stuff out the way. And then you have to defend. When I heard that, I was like, okay, that didn't really have nothing to do with what he... Well, it did have something to do with what he was saying, but it didn't really have anything to do with what I was trying to get. But when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, defend yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Don't hide. Protect yourself. And who better than you to prove to yourself that you are worthy? Prove it to yourself, and then other people will believe it, because then they'll start to pick up that from you, and then they'll be like, oh, damn, that lady is very encouraging. Look how she carries herself. I'm saying, it's actually the truth. You know, people hold on to fear because it's a part of them. You know, you won't transcend fear if you aren't ready to face it.
Right.
If you're not ready to face fear, you're always going to be running. You're going to be stuck running. And hold up, this is a quote that I wanted to read. This quote, I said, when I read it, I said, this is definitely a good one. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek.
Yeah.
You know that dark cave, that place you don't want to look at? That place you don't want to go in alone because you know the skeletons and stuff in the closet? You need to go in that cave and face your fears so that you can be able to move past them.
Yeah, expose it.
Move past them. Now, these are some things that you can do to overcome fear as well. You have to be aware of what your fears are. That's why I said earlier, put them under a microscope. Identify them. Figure out what thoughts cause your fear. Stay in the here and now. What about the now? What are you doing in the now so that fear won't dictate your life? They have this method. It's called the Sedona method. You ask yourself a question while focusing on the fear. And that's a very simple one. It's very simple. They even have another one. I forgot the name. Is when you hold on to different pressure points in your body while you're thinking about fear. And they say when you do this and you hold on to the pressure points, it actually alleviates some of the fear and it calms your body. It's almost when you,
I do that when I massage clients.
To get acupuncture done.
Yeah.
Or even when you go to get massages done. Remain grateful. Switch from fear to being grateful for things in your life. Write your fears down on a piece of paper. Don't just think about them. Because when you start to think about them and you keep them in your mind, it's like it's a whirlwind of things that run through your mind. So you might not be able to grasp everything that you want to grasp. And like I said, in order to move past your fear, you have to face them. You have to face them. And then you have to be honest with yourself and pinpoint it and get to the root of it. If you don't get to the root of what is causing you to have this fear or anxiety or pain or anger or all of these kind of things, if you never get to the root, you will always find out that it will continue to pop up in your life at particular times and cause you harm. Another thing, you might need to get some therapy or might even need to get a life coach. Talk about them. Like I said, find the meaning. They have workshops. Go to a workshop. Go to a workshop on how the mind works. Go to a workshop on alleviating fear. Look online, watch videos. When we do research, me and wifey, I read stuff online, because I could sit here and really just tell you how I think, and it will make sense. But I don't want it to just be all just based on what I say. And wifey could do the same thing. But I don't all just want it to be based on what I think. That's why we go do research. It's not like we don't necessarily know about the topic, but I don't want it to just all come from me. I'm not trying to sit here like I'm the great I am and I know everything. But basically, we're just here to try to share our experience, strength, and hope with others, that people could be helped by what we say. And it also helps us, because when we tell it to you, we're telling it to ourselves as well. Read about your specific fears. They also have movies. You could go, right now, you could go on, sometimes they show Facebook, but you guys should go on YouTube and see movies about phobias and fears. Remember, fears are just fear. It's created in our own imagination. You might have to change your diet. That's another thing. Like I said earlier, you could change your diet.
Yeah, I'm
Negative
working on
thoughts
that too.
And doubts. When the doubts start to kick in, think those positive thoughts. Like I said, find out where your fears are stemming from, because if you never find out where they're stemming from, they're going to always be a problem in your life. Develop a vision of what you want your life to be.
Right.
Remember, you can't control everything and you surely cannot control everybody. To be honest, the only person you really, really, really can control is yourself. Pray. Pray. Bring God into your life. Even if God, and this is a funny thing, fear is a lack of faith, but they are healthy. They are healthy fears, and there are fears that will still kick in even if you believe in God. But being if you really have that belief and your faith is intertwined with your belief, the fear shouldn't hold you as captive as it would if you didn't. That's what I'm saying.
And I just want to give this verse on Proverbs 9:10. It says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom and knowledge. Of the Holy One is understanding." So right there it's a healthy fear. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. And then another translation, it says, "Fear of the Lord is the foundation of wisdom, knowledge of the Holy One resulting in good judgment." So if you turn to, like I said last week about staying vertical, you can alleviate a whole lot of stress and fear by turning and saying, "Okay, God, what is your will for my life?" You know, a lot of times you don't even have to ask, because he said, I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. He predestined your life. He knew what you would be doing. It's all about you surrendering. It's all about you letting go of you and your thoughts and your will and your plan. Because it's not about your will and your plan. You know, because somebody said, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. He doesn't care about that. Especially if it doesn't line up with what the direction he has for you to go. So I'm discovering myself today. The reason why I have a lot of fear is because the enemy is mad at me. He was like, oh no, I gotta make her mad. I gotta make her feel like she's not wanted here in Philly. Oh, I got to make her take flight, run and fight and all that stuff. You know, so that's how I know I'm on the right track, when he's coming for me the way that he's coming for me.
Attacking.
And he's attacking me in every area of my life. He doesn't care how he do it. He just want me to crash and burn. But now I recognize it and I see it. So what I got to do, first of all, I had to repent, because I was just wilding out. Oh my God, this is da. So I have to trust in the Lord with all my heart and lean not into my own understanding, but in all my ways acknowledge him, and he should direct my path. That's Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. So I have to not lean into my own understanding. And so when I'm leaning into my own understanding, fears and anxiety and all that stuff comes into play. And we all know the word of God says, be anxious for nothing, but through prayer and supplication. You know, we have not. He's telling us, don't be anxious, don't be all excited for anything. Just rest, you know, because he gives us the peace that surpasses our understanding anyway. So we just relax in God and just know that he's going to do it.
So turn it over to the God of your understanding, and keep in mind that the devil, the evil, whatever you like to call him, Shaitan, or whatever you would like to call him, he doesn't want you to die. He wants you to suffer.
Yes.
And these are some of the ways that he goes about.
And destroy.
Yeah, these are some of the ways that he goes about to cause you to suffer. Excuse me. You know, if it was the case, he could just be like, oh, okay, well, you could just do this, just kill yourself. But some people do have those thoughts based on fear as well. Some people do have those thoughts, but overall, most of the time, he wants you to suffer. Because if you die, that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the suffering, going through that pain.
Because he'll give you enough pain.
God, not believing. You know, now you caught up in all this fear. Now you don't even believe your true beliefs. You know, you may be a God-fearing person, but let that fear keep kicking in, and it seems like things aren't going the way that you want them to go.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, you turn around and you be like, is there a God?
Yeah.
Or is it a God? Should I believe in him? Or the other one that I used to always hear people say, well, what has he done for me lately? Well, first of all, he ain't Janet Jackson. That's one. Or if he is, that I don't know. But he ain't Janet Jackson. But what has he done for you lately? You're still alive and breathing.
That's right.
And like I said, it's all based on the way we see things in our mind.
What a man thinks.
We create our own reality through our thoughts. And then our thoughts become actions. Our actions become our life. And then we start to follow through. And then if it goes back to what you put in your mind. If you put good thoughts, more than likely you'll have more good traits and characteristics that follow you. But if you're always in a negative frame of mind or feeling down on yourself, more than likely your life is going to reflect that, because that's what you're putting in existence through your thoughts.
Right.
So let me go back to another couple of more things. Wifey does massage. Get a massage. Meditation also helps as well. Or yoga. You know, they've been doing yoga since Buddha was around. And Buddha was around, predated. He was one of the first prophets. You know, Buddha been here before any other prophet. Well, a lot of other prophets. I mean, I say any other because there were some other ones. But, you know, they've been doing that, and they do that to align themselves with the God of their understanding. You know, like I said, keep in mind that failure does not mean that your life is over.
That's right.
Breathe. Take deep breaths.
Failure is good.
They talk about the breath of life.
Yes.
Right? The breath of life.
Yes.
But people don't realize the breath of life, you breathe in and out. That's part of the breath of life. I'm not trying to go the religious route. I'm just saying, while you're sitting here breathing in and out, you still exist.
Yeah.
So
God said,
breath,
I come to give you life and give it to you more abundantly.
Your breath is part of your life. So give yourself a break. Take deep breaths. They talk about that in meditation as well. Resisting our fears make it worse. Keep in mind that you have to deal with your fears, and we can actually learn to overcome our old fears and not let new fears dictate us. And to be honest, I really hope somebody got something from out of what we said.
Right.
Tonight's topic was fear and overcoming fear. And you know, like I said, it was so much that we could have talked about dealing with fear. I mean, it's so much info, but we took the parts that we wanted to talk about, and I really hope that somebody got something from. And I'm saying that, and I'm saying it over and over because I think some people take stuff for granted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you'd be surprised the little things that you can hear that'll stay with you if you let them sink in. You know, like that fear could always be there. You could listen to something that I say, wifey say, or some other people say, and it could just be something simple.
Mm-hmm.
And like they say, what comes from the heart touches the heart. So I'm hoping and praying, or not necessarily praying, but I'm hoping that what we said touched your heart. Something. I hope it touched somebody, and I hope somebody that's listening, if they were living in fear or caught up in fear, I hope it's not continuing to hold you hostage. Mm-hmm. And it could all get better.
It all can get better. So I'm going to leave with 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. I mean, it's all the ingredients is right there in that verse. Giving us the spirit, his spirit. You know, he didn't give us the spirit of fear, but his spirit. His spirit is in us. His power is in us. His love is in us. And we must have his mind. Yeah, he's within us. Because our thoughts are not his thoughts, our ways are not his ways, but you will want to have a sound mind. How do you have a sound mind? It's staying vertical with him, staying prayerful. I see a friend of mine, she said something about deliverance. You know, a lot of times, you know, people want to get to the deliverance part, but you need to be healed. You need to be healed. You need to be healed. You need to confess some things. You need to get some things out in the open with yourself. You need to confess what is wrong with you. You know. So it'll be real hard to get delivered and
lying to yourself.
You're lying to yourself and not, you know, putting those things out there on the forefront. You know, if you're struggling with lying, you're struggling with fornication, you're struggling with masturbation, you're struggling with, you know, lust, you're struggling with a whole lot of things, you know, that's going on in your life. And you're not going to be healed, delivered, and set free until you confess what is going on with you. Because First John 1:9, it says, he is faithful and just to forgive us of our sins and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. He will do it. He will do it. So, y'all, this has really helped me today. And like I said, we're going to kick fear in the face because God has not given us that spirit of fear.
It ain't going to hold you stagnant. Don't let it hold you stagnant.
That's right. And I want y'all to be strong, and I want y'all to be courageous. And sometimes you just got to encourage yourself. And, and if that's what you got to do, then that's what you got to do.
And it ain't no mummies here, so don't stay paralyzed.
Don't stay paralyzed.
No, just gotta add a little joke to it.
It said, don't stay paralyzed, don't stay stagnant, and don't stay in that place of woe is me. You know, because you stay in that place where, you know, that empathy.
That woe is me. I have you stuck in a cage for years.
That's it, sure will.
And then looking outside the cage, wondering how you could get out, not realizing that the way to get out is through your own thinking, changing the way you think.
That's right.
Tapping into the God of your understanding and taking them footsteps forward.
That's right.
So as we always say,
my name is Ira Warren.
And my name is Divine Warren.
And together we are as one.
Peace.
Y'all have a good night.
Got something out of we said.
All right. Y'all have a good night. Bye. Thank y'all for watching. Trina, Miss Roundtree. Bashir. I see you. Hey. Okay, babe, you can turn it off. Bye.